Last session, we developed a whole program and methodology to help us work on the character traits that are holding back our personal and spiritual growth and evolution. Today's session, we will look at how the 5 steps and the 3 paths that we explored in the last session might be applied to the transformation of the negative trait of anger. The first stage in this work is to follow the 5-step guidelines for the work of repair and Tikkun as outlined by Rebbe Yisroel of Kozhnitz over 200 years ago. The first step is self-examination. Take a good look at ourselves, as we learned in Series 2. We need to take a look at the truth of our relationship with anger. Put aside the stories that you tell yourself about why you don't have a problem with anger. Admit the places where you pretend that you're not angry, but you fake it. Underneath it all, you really are enraged. What is the wishful thinking that you tell yourself about your anger? How does that thought pattern cloud the whole way you see yourself? Step 2, identify the issues that are keeping you from moving forward in your spiritual journey. So go over all your interactions and encounters. And like we spoke about during the second series, observe how anger affects the way you interact with the people in your life. Think about how it impacts your relationship with others. Reflect on how it affects your overall day-to-day functioning and prevents you from being really effective in your endeavors. Consider how your anger keeps you from moving forward in your life and in your evolution as an individual and as a soul. Think of how it prevents you from being who you want to be and who you really are. Watch other people for clues on how to deal with anger. See how they react to provocation, frustrations. Think about what you can learn from them. Also reflect on how people react to you, on how you seem to others. Do you come across as angry or aggressive? And if you do, how does that affect the way people interact with you? What can it tell you about yourself? What indicators can you learn to help you control your anger? Learn to listen to others and hear what they're saying. Are you really listening to what they have to say? Or are you reacting before they've finished what they're saying, responding defensively with angry and hostile words? If you're someone who doesn't get angry, but is afraid of people who are angry, go through this same process and strive to discover how the anger of others affects you and how your fear of anger influences, disturbs, and shakes who you are, your relationships, and your ability to fulfill your life. Take an honest look at your anger about the situation. That can't help but be affecting you deep in your heart. This is the second step. Third step is stop making excuses and just accept what is wrong. Stop rationalizing why you have good reasons to be angry, why you can't do anything about it, and that it's actually okay to be angry. And even your anger is not so bad. In fact, it's getting better. Just admit to yourself that you have a problem with anger, with angry people, whatever level that problem exists, and decide that it's time to really do something about it, to take bold action with faith in the Almighty. Remember, this is a spiritual process, not just a psychological one. So the divine needs to be present within it. Step 4, make a plan. Ask yourself, what is the source of your anger? When do you first remember it appearing? What were the circumstances and how did it make you feel? Then ask yourself, how can I counter this anger? How can I change how I respond when anger comes to the fore? How can I acknowledge the presence of my anger without feeling terrible guilt and shame, without going into a panic? Ask yourself, what actions will actually shift my thought patterns and behavior? Ask yourself, what is the positive virtue that I need to develop instead? And what actions can I take to help develop that virtue? One thing I've discovered is anger is often just a front or a blind for other feelings. It's the feeling behind our anger that points the way to its transformation. Anger can arise as a reaction to sadness and helplessness. If we allow ourselves to feel the sadness and helplessness, I find that we can transform our anger into compassion. Compassion for ourselves and for all other human beings. Anger is also often a reaction to internal agitation, situations that are overwhelming our heart and mind. If we can acknowledge that feeling of agitation and being overwhelmed, and then give it all over to the higher power, we can transform our anger into a sense of trust and peace. Remember, you're ultimately trying to turn an enemy, or oyev, into a beloved, or ohev, a weakness of the lower self, into a strength of the higher self. Or to express this idea in the Kabbalistic language of the shell and the spark, the kalipa and nitzutz. If you break through the outer shell of the negative trait, the kalipa, you can discover and reveal the divine light or spark that's inside it, the nitzutz. Here, anger is the kalipa, and is its positive counterpart of acceptance, peace, and compassion. It's the spark, or nitzutz. For deep reflection on all these questions, on your own, with your practice partner, or chavruta, or with your spiritual mentor, guide, the basis of a plan for moving forward with your personal transformation work will unfold in your heart and your mind. The last step is to turn inward and look to the higher power, divine guidance and assistance in achieving your goal.